What's up, gang? We are live. It's Drew Manchu on the Drew Manchu channel. I don't know if anybody is watching this. The whole reason that I'm going live today is because I got some comics that I want to talk about. But more than anything, I needed to film a video, an unboxing video for Downright Nerdy Podcast. They had a contest, some giveaways, some winnings. I got some stuff in this giant box right here. And I would be remiss if I didn't give shout outs to both Riley and Mike over there at Downright Nerdy Podcast. They put together a fantastic show on YouTube, which you guys can watch at the link in the description below. In addition to that, they do a fantastic audio podcast. You can find on all the podcast platforms. They are Downright Nerdy Podcast on just about everything. If you go over to their YouTube channel, you'll find all their social media. Just give them a shout, man. Let them know Drew Manchu sent you. They did send this big box. I did open it. I haven't really unwrapped everything, but there is a note here that I would definitely like to read to you guys, because this is a really, really nice note that they included. It says, "Congratulations, Drew. So happy when we saw you won this. Even happier knowing it's going to a good home. Thank you for being such an awesome supporter of the show and a good friend." Hey, guys, thank you so much for supporting everything that we do over here at the Drew Manchu channel, as well as the Comic Core channel. Everything that we do is for the fans, for the community, for the family, and we're happy to have you guys be a part of it. Great Legend is in the chat. Fish Tropic is in the chat as well. I am unboxing a Downright Nerdy giveaway box that I won on one of their giveaways just a couple weeks ago. Man, they gave away so much stuff, and it was a lot of really great stuff as well. So I'm really excited to get into this. They said, hey, whenever Comic-Cons come around, again, first drink is on us. No, I'm going to buy around, so don't worry about that. They hope we enjoy the winnings. And said, had to pad the figurine with a pop. Hope you don't already have it. I don't have a lot of pops, so I'm excited to open this pop and see what it is. I know exactly what the big prize was. So I'm going to go ahead and get to this pop first. Jesus, there's a ton of freaking bubble wrap. I'm going to be able to save this for something for the people. People need to hear the bubble wrap. Oh, man. This is pretty sweet. Like I said, I don't have a lot of pops. I don't collect a whole ton of pops. You guys probably know, you can't see it from this angle. I have one of these shelves over my couches loaded up with all my pop figures. I got like 2 or 3 up here on my other shelves. But this one's really cool, and it's one I don't have. And it's the movie Mysterio from Far From Home. That glare on that box is killer there. Just coming off my monitor, which is gigantic. It's like I don't need a light anymore. The monitor just kind of fills the room with light. But yeah, it's the Mysterio. Number 473. That is really awesome. That's cool. Yeah, I don't have a lot of the MCU pops. And certainly don't have a lot of Spider-Man pops. I only pick up pops really when they're something that speaks to me. Like I saw Rick and Morty, Mr. Poopy Butthole in the store, and I had to have that one. And there's a couple that I really, really loved, but this one's really freaking cool. I dig it. Mysterio. That's definitely going on the shelf. And now for the main event. This was even more bubble wrap. Take off that one side, and yep, it'll slide and rain out. That's awesome. See, I knew I was getting this. I'm going to put this box over my head just like that. Fantastic content for the people. Now, I knew that I was getting this, and I was really happy that I won this, because I am a uber fan not only of this character, but of this costume for this character. This is the X-23 as Wolverine, the all-new Wolverine PVC diorama, Marvel Gallery, Diamond Gallery. This is cool. It's got a cool write-up on it, too. Now, I've seen this before and didn't pull the trigger on it. Woohoo! I hope he didn't pay this price for it. I hope he got a deal on it because there's a hefty price tag on it. But thank you very much, Mike and Riley, for this beautiful X-23 statue. I really don't have room for this box. So you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to unbox this right now, and I'm going to put it up on my shelf. Let's see if I can't find a knife. Nah, there's no knife, but I found a little screwdriver. I'll snip this tape, no problem. And then we'll get into some comics in just a minute. Picked up some cool stuff this week. K Titus, what's going on, man? How are things over in Japan right now? Good to have some international flair on the Drew Manchu show here. Downright Nerdy sent me a great box of stuff and some surprises with some stuff that I want. So I'm really hyped about that. I'm going to take this bad girl out of her packaging right now. Yeah, I'm going to let it breathe. I'm going to let it breathe. Too many boxes, man. Too many boxes. See, this one's going to go right with the other. It hit me in the fucking head. Another terrible wave of corona in Japan. I'm sorry to hear that, man. I think it's going to be that way all over the world, but let's just hope that everybody does their best to stay healthy. Just personal responsibility is the biggest thing with that, man. I hate to see businesses shut down. I actually just went back to work part-time this week, so hopefully in the coming weeks it'll be a full-time gig again. But, oh, man, this is really cool. Okay, I'm just going to go out of focus. That's badass. That's a very good view from behind. I dig the details because there's the claw marks, the dual claw marks on the X on the stand. Dude, this thing is badass. Good detail on the mask. Just the white eyes. I love this costume for Laura. I think this was a really great book, the all-new Wolverine book. The X-23 book after it was just as good, in my opinion, but this is really, really solid, man. Thank you so much, Mike and Riley, for this. This is going right up on my shelf right over here. And I'll go ahead and get a pic of that for Instagram at some point. I'll add more packaging. Just throw that over the shoulder there and get it out of the way. Now, I was just on the Facebook machine having some... Pardon me for that sip of coffee there. Just on the Facebook machine having some political conversations that I just did not want to be having, man. And I said, you know, why not talk some comics? And then right on top of that, I get a package from Downright Nerdy that I'm like, hey, man, we got to open this thing. So my obligation to Downright Nerdy Podcast has been fulfilled. Not that it's an obligation, man. I love those guys and I love their content. And man, if you just go back to like 2 weeks ago and check out the giveaway video they did, they threw like thousands of dollars worth of stuff at people, man. And it was really cool for them to give back to the community that they felt has built their show up. And I really, really dig that. But you know what, man? This is a comic book channel, and I want to talk about comic books. First, I want to talk about some key issues that I picked up this week. And I'm really psyched about them because they are in super good shape, man. I picked up these two. Anybody who knows me and knows the channel knows that I love X-Men. Short Box, what's going on, Shorty? Mastodon, good to see you. Aggressively's in the chat. Check these out, guys. Bam, 141. Check the spine on this bitch. Pardon my vernacular. But oh my God, clean as a whistle. There's this little dink up there in the corner. And that is the only thing I can find wrong with this book. I'll show you this side there. You guys can see how freaking white those pages are. Unbelievable. And I got this for a great deal. What I paid for this book, I would have paid for it alone, man. but included in the deal was $142. Check out how clean this copy is, man. Absolutely insane. There's just a little bit of a chew right there. But that thing, that's printer, man. That's the printer error. That has nothing to do with the book, really, and shouldn't take too much off of it, if anything. I doubt I'll get these graded. I don't get a lot of books graded, man. But I have both of these books, just not in this shape. These are just like super duper clean. You can see I put 3 boards in each one. These things are rock solid. And yeah, man, I think this one has like a little pressure indentations around the Sentinel's face, like in his shoulder. But like that'll press out no problem if I ever wanted to get it slabbed. I'll just get it pressed, man. These are both really high grade, and I splurged on them, but I still feel like I got the better deal out of the whole shebang. But man, it's great back issues. Guy at my local shop got a really cool run of Silver Age and early Bronze Age stuff in, and a lot of it is just really out of my price range. But a good deal of it is just reasonable, and is some stuff that I'm like filling holes slowly. And it's sad for me that his business is slow right now, but it also gives me time to build up my cash flow and get some of these books off his wall without anybody sniping me. All right. They're not going to do anything to get more expensive. You made the right move. And you know what, man? These I saw and I was like, kickity keys. And I'm not much of a key collector, really. I'm trying to fill my runs. I'm getting keys to fill runs for the most part. But when I see something that's this pretty at this price, I got to jump all over it, man. So I was super happy to grab those. I'm going to stick those up here so they don't get lost in the fold. But I also have a whole stack of new books that I read this week that I kind of want to get into and let you guys know what I thought about them. No new Marvel books this week, so I got 3 DC and I got 1 Dynamite book here. I'll talk about that Dynamite book first. This is Dear Becky. This is the boys' new series. And man, is it a stinker. I don't know who this book is for. There's kind of this tongue-in-cheek, freewheeling style to the boys that Ennis brings to the boys that is kind of not PC at all. And they have a kind of PC versus not PC conversation in the beginning of the book between Wee Huey and a transsexual. And I don't really know what that was all for. It doesn't do much to inform the characters or the world at all. It's kind of just this idea that Ennis had in his head to explain to LGBT community members that not everybody who uses the wrong words is not an ally, and it's kind of a rail against PC speech in a way that really makes sense, but it doesn't do anything for this book. And the back end of it is all about Butcher's wife, Becky. He's writing in her diary. It gets sent to Huey. He's reading it on the toilet, and he says something about having to kill her. And there's the scene where the boys are ripping this child's tongue out, and it's not very well explained why. Apparently, he's a soup who has the ability to grow in size, and even though he's like a 10-year-old, he's been like raping people. But that's kind of a throwaway line, and I don't understand what this book is trying to do or tell me. It didn't really set up a narrative that I'm interested in exploring going forward. So I picked this up on a lark, and I will not be picking up issue number 2. This was not for me. I honestly don't know who it is for. I think it's probably for Garth Ennis to have a chance to say his piece. But for me, it just didn't do anything, man. Just wasn't my thing. Now, I've been really, really liking what Tomasi's been doing on Detective Comics. But this is not great. The artwork is solid and the storytelling's solid, but it's like moving into Joker War, and you can tell that it's not Tomasi's thing. So it's kind of the back end of it is kind of shoehorned into Joker War in a way that, like, I'm excited to see what happens with Joker War. I don't know if with recent news I'll be purchasing DC Comics moving forward. We'll see how that goes. Depends on if my shops are getting them, because I will be supporting my shops and not ordering them online for myself. But if the shops are getting them and they feel like they're getting a good deal, I don't have a problem with that. I'll have to talk to the guys down at the LCSs that I buy from. But Tomasi's been doing some good stuff. Detective's been a little bit more macabre than Batman. It's been a little bit like Two-Face has a cult, so there's some cool stuff going on there. But at the end of the day, this is just kind of a solid Batman story. I just think the trappings of Joker War were kind of unnecessary. Batman and Detective have kind of been so divorced at this point that tying them together isn't something that I'm super keen on. I don't know. We'll see how it goes and what all happens with that. But I also picked up what I think is the best Batman book going right now. And that's Batman Superman, which I find to be a little bit confusing for me, because I'm not really a huge fan of Joshua Williamson and his storytelling. But I do dig this book. I think that the art by Henry is bright, fun, action-packed. There's some really cool scenes in here. The atomic skull explodes in Gotham. And then the superhumite or ultra human, I don't know, some giant gorilla dude who I don't know anything about because DC. But he's making a whole bunch of atomic skulls at the end. Batman and Superman has been great because it's been kind of smaller arcs. I loved the beginning of it because the art was so good. But I didn't like the fact that the first arc was so tied to like the Infected and the Batman Who Laughs. As soon as it was over, I was like, okay, I'm done with this. But then the next arc was Ra's al Ghul and what's his name, Zod, and trying to bring back the city of Kandor, dropping the city of Kandor into Lazarus Pit, which would then turn all the micro Kryptonians into psychopaths. And there was kind of a cool deal going on there, and I enjoyed those villains, and I like that dynamic. It was kind of like Zod versus Batman and Ra's versus Superman until it was Ra's versus Zod. But it was kind of a cool story. This has continued to keep my interest. There are giant splash pages in this thing. I'm going to crack this bad boy open and show you guys some of this art because I thought it was really cool. It was worth mentioning to you guys. This is probably my book of the week. Really slow week. I mean, that's the centerfold right there. Just the art is colorful and playful. It's classic comics kind of meets the animated style. It's kind of sort of cartoony, but at the same time, very much grounded in your typical comic art. Let's see, I can get the Batmobile zipping through the streets. Some cool stuff in here, man. And Superman hears him and Lois are getting ready to get their makeout on, and he hears that Gotham needs help. So, like, the art is pretty solid. The story is kind of bare bones. The art is solid. And he's making an atomic army. What's his name? Ultra Humanite. I don't know if Ultra Humanite's a thing or this is new. You guys tell me in the chat. But it's dope, man. I like this book. I thought it was pretty darn good. My pick of the week, Batman Superman. It's doing things at DC that the other books aren't doing. It's keeping it simple. And you know, it's doing a good job. This piece of shit cost me $10. Now, this Jim Lee cover is pretty cool. It's got Robin and Batman on there. This is 100 pages. And honestly, there's one story in here that's worth its shit. And surprisingly, it's the Tom King story because it's a story about Catwoman getting pregnant and Helena, and then, you know, her getting old. It's actually really well done and poignant. But it's like 4 pages out of this 100-page spectacular. They keep doing these anniversary issues. They did, you know, the Action Comics 1000. They did the Detective Comics 1000. They did the Robin. Did they do a Lex Luthor? I think I have no idea. But at this point, the returns are diminishing. Catwoman is not an interesting enough character to have all these takes. One has her just, you know, being a whore, which is like, I don't know if that's a thing, but it's not a good look. And for the Tom King, McCallianan art-driven story to be the best thing, man, it's got to be, the rest of it's got to be absolute crap. And I can tell you right now it is. If you didn't spend $10 on this thing, just don't. I would say, like, if you get the opportunity to, you know, pirate a PDF, just don't. You're going to waste your time on a book that is absolute garbage. This is not good. I would throw it over my shoulder. Only I think that, you know, this Jim Lee cover makes it something that maybe one day might be worth $11 and then I'll sell it. But right now, it's not worth the paper it's printed on. It was really, really bad. It was like really, really, and I'm not a regular Catwoman reader. And if you're a regular Catwoman reader, tell me what you think about the Catwoman, because I heard some people trashing Robin, but I really dug that. I only picked up one of those covers, but I really dug that. This one is just, man, it's drivel. But like I said, regular Catwoman readers, if this is what speaks to you, maybe Catwoman's just not for me. I know I didn't enjoy the Wonder Woman issue they put out, but I don't like Wonder Woman books. So that's on me. She's just not a character that I dig. There were a few things they did in that was like try to be, you know, continuity, resetting or whatever. And so I figured, you know, I'll read it because it's supposed to be important. I didn't read anything in that was really important at all. Just kind of undid Doomsday Clock right after they did Doomsday Clock. And it's just one of those things that just gets you more and more upset over DC. And, you know, and the news came out on today, I guess, or was it last Friday? I don't know what's going on with DC, but they cut ties with Diamond. There are a number of people who are like, good, let's see how this all plays out. Diamond had a monopoly. There are a number of LCS owners that are up in arms because basically DC's forcing them to support their competition online. This is Diamond at the same time losing about 30% of the market share, which is not good for their company. I think they'll find a way to address that and adjust at a certain point. But they'll definitely have to make cutbacks in their staff, I would assume, losing 30% of the inventory that goes through their distribution centers. So we'll see how it all plays out. Like I said, like I would love to, you know, hop on board a boycott DC movement until they make everybody happy. This seems like it's a money move. It doesn't seem like it's for the customer or for the LCSs like they say it is. It just seems like they're trying to muddy the waters and complicate things for everybody. But I'm going to support my LCS, right? So if my LCS isn't ordering DC books, I'm not going to buy DC books. If my LCS is like, hey, man, it's cool. We're still getting the same profit margins on this. We're doing whatever we want. We're doing the same thing. It's just a different distribution model and a different form I got to fill out. It's just more work for me. Then I'm fine with buying DC books at that point too. I think that what we all need to do as far as making snap decisions on this is support the local businesses that need your support. That's what I would say. It is what it is, man. What's going on? Rod, just a Rican popped in. Good to see you there, my friend. Fish Tropics back. Good to see with that thumbs up there, buddy. I think that there's a lot going on in the world right now, man. And the fact that I have some comics news to talk about and some comics to talk about is a great distraction from getting drugged into the back and forth of people on social media who have the same idea but say it differently, and just it's not worth arguing with your friends over what's going on in the world. Let's just love everybody and have a little bit of time to talk comics and nerd stuff. And I just think that I said to somebody earlier, I don't want to argue with anybody about anything unless it's like Marvel versus DC. Like Batman versus Superman. Give me a nerd topic to argue about. I don't want to argue about the status quo or legal woes or political protests or viruses and pandemics or the liberal media, or I don't want to argue about any of that, man. I just don't. I don't have time in my life for that kind of negativity and that kind of toxicity and just drag you down. What I do want to talk about is who's your favorite Ninja Turtle, man. What I want to talk about is what was your first Grail comic that you decided that you were going to, save up for and buy? Maybe it was a baseball card. What do you collect? What is your fandom? What are these things? Where did you start? What was your secret origin? And guys, if you want to talk about secret origins tonight on Comic Core Roundtable at 10 p.m. over on the Comic Core channel, we will be talking about our secret origins of collecting. We're going to talk about our first LCS experiences, maybe. What was our first fandom? Like, what got us into comics? What was the first comic we bought? These kind of things. Who's your favorite hero? What's your favorite color? I don't know. We're going to get into it. We're going to chop it up and we're going to talk about it. We're going to have a good time. I tell you what, we are not going to stress about what is going on in our own personal lives or the COVID-19 crisis. We're not going to talk about any political movements or whether you're for them or whether you're against them. We're going to talk comics, and we're going to try our best to have fun amongst the family, and we're going to do our best to just talk about the things that we want to talk about, man. I want to talk to everybody in the chat about it. I want to make sure that everybody has a place to go where they can just turn their brain off for a minute. And I know that if you feel passionately about something, especially on the political spectrum, turning your brain off is not always the best thing to do, because you want to raise awareness and you want to be active and you want to get ideas out there. But for every idea, there's a counter idea. And I just want to have a place where we can sit down and we can talk and we can have fun as a group without having to worry about all this nonsense. Does it feel right to distract from a political conversation? You know what? That's not for me to say. But what is for me to say is where I came from in collecting and what I believe in fandom. And we're going to talk about that tonight on the core. Mastodon, thank you so much for hanging out. We got Just a Rican in here along with Fish Tropic. Samuel David popped in. What's going on, Samuel David? Good to see you. I'm happy that some people came out to check out these things that I got today. Just a little recap. Downright Nerdy gave me this awesome Mysterio pop for free as an included bonus with this. Reach up off the shelf. Fantastic X-23 as Wolverine PVC diorama piece. This is that Diamond Gallery. Really dope, and I'm happy to have it. One of my favorite characters in one of my favorite costumes. So, and on top of that, you know, Catwoman was a turd. There goes my focus. Batman Superman was good. Pick of the week. Detective has maintained, but at the same time, I don't like the tie-in. And where'd it go? Well, here it is. The Boys. Dear Becky, was not for me. Not for me, man. Not for me at all. And I also picked up the Days of Futures Past. Some really, really clean copies. These things are minty fresh. So I'm at about a half hour now, and I think I ran my mouth off enough. Guys, be sure to check out Downright Nerdy Podcast. Mike and Riley are the absolute best, and their link is in the chat. I'm pretty sure everybody here knows about Downright Nerdy, but if you don't, go ahead and give them a try. If you like nerd-based content, podcasts, they're for you guys. They do some really great movie stuff, some really cool comic stuff, and man, great community giveaways, as you can see right there. I don't have enough good things to say about Mike and Riley, but that's why this video exists. Check it out on the thumbnail. Big shout outs to Downright Nerdy Podcast and hooking me up with some pretty sweet swag. Just a Rican says he did not like The Boys. Samuel David said he skipped The Boys. Great Legend says he likes educating young boys. And with that, make sure you guys give this video a like because I'm a good dude. And make sure that you check out the Comic Core tonight at 10 for Roundtable. It's going to be a really great old school style conversation with just the family. Pop in that chat. Let us know what's up, man. We will see y'all at 10. All right. Till then, Drew Manchu, baby. Collect what you love. Share what you find. I'll see you guys next time.